Hi guys, welcome back to Code Master Coach, your medical coding tutor. Guys, as promised on Friday, I left with you two big cases that included HMP, op note, in one case a progress note, as well as a path report, as well as progress notes for each. So let's see how well you did. This first case was a carpal tunnel syndrome of the left wrist. Went in and gave you information about it. Again, physical exam. There's the op report, progress notes, and the orders. So, based on this case, how did you code? Okay, let's put the code. So, for ICD-10-CM, we got the G56.02 for left hand, because it said it was on the left. Your patient also has diabetes type 1, as well as hypertension. Okay? And the way that I knew this is back in the history and physical. Notice it says your patient has a history of type 1 diabetes mellitus and hypertension. She takes Humulin, that's the insulin for the type 1 diabetes, and Zestril for the hypertension. So that let me know right there I could code it. And remember the rule of thumb with insulin diabetes type 1 is it's understood these patients are on insulin, so I don't have to worry about adding the long-term use of insulin. Z79-4, it's understood. And with CPT, in this case, they did the correction of the carpal tunnel, 64721, and this was done on the left wrist. So that's your CPT code. Okay, guys, how did you do? Here's your ICD-10-CM and your CPT. For the second case, patient came in with dyspepsia and dysphagia. What's that? Difficulty with digesting your food, indigestion, difficulty swallowing. History of basal cell carcinoma of the back, hypertension, now not treated in diabetes. Patient's on Riopan and glucotrol. Here's your history. The plan is to admit the patient for an EGD. There's the EGD. The pre-op was the dyspepsia and dysphagia. Afterwards, it was found to be candidal esophagitis. Biopsies were taken. So there's your procedure. Recommendation was to await the path report. Here's your path report. Path report does show the esophagitis and acute and chronic gastritis. And there's a special stain for H. pylori. So in this case, your ICD-10, CM, B37.81 for the candidal esophagitis. Your patient also had acute gastritis, K29.00. Patient had chronic gastritis, but it was due to the H. pylori, K29.40, because remember the type of gastritis takes precedent over the chronic. And then identifying the H. pylori, A is B96.81. So hopefully you picked up all of these. And then your CPT for the EGD, 43239. Now I would also add to my diagnoses, patient had hypertension, I-10, and patient also has diabetes, B11.9. because it stated that up here in the H&P. So hopefully you guys pick these up as well. Here it is. History of basal cell carcinoma. If you coded the history of Z85.828 for that, that really has no bearing on this admission. That's why I didn't add it in my diagnoses codes. The history of basal cell carcinoma, no bearing. But it says hypertension now, and then diabetes. And here they're taking medication. So because of that, that's why I added them into my final coding. So in this case, your final coding, ICD-10-CM and CPT, are the esophageal, the candidal esophagitis, acute gastritis. In this case, it came up to atrophic gastritis for the pylori, H. pylori, and then identifying the H. pylori. Patient has hypertension, diabetes, and that's the procedure code CPT for the EGD that was done. Okay, guys, hopefully you did well. The key that I want to just share with you out of this video is, as a coder, when I'm looking at my patients' diagnoses, when they're coming in, especially on the H&P, if I know the patient's coming in for dyspepsia and dysphagia, start doing research on dyspepsia and dysphagia. Find out what it is. What is the treatment for it? What kind of condition should I be looking for in it? That will help you understand how to appropriately code these. And then patient had that EGD done, and it was with biopsies. So that made the code the 43239 with biopsies. Hopefully you caught that. And in the first case, when the patient had the carpal tunnel syndrome, with carpal tunnel, it is a repairable condition. So make sure with carpal tunnel that you identify that they did have the procedure. Here it is, decompression of the medial nerve of the left wrist. And when I coded my procedure code, I made sure to identify that it was of the left wrist. Okay, guys, keep the comments coming in. I'll be back tomorrow with 2 more cases for you to code, but I want to make sure you're understanding what you're doing here. So any questions, be sure and comment below or email me at codemastercoach@gmail.com. All right, guys, thanks. I will see you tomorrow with a new video with 2 more cases.